Hello and welcome to my opinion archive. In today's video I'm going to give you my top 3 enemies from the TV series Doctor Who. Before I start, I would like to say that there is many more interesting enemies in Doctor Who, but these were the 3 I feel like are the most interesting ones. And if you have any other ones you think are really interesting, then please let me know. This list is also not in any particular order, so the enemies I am listing are not necessarily better or worse than the ones that comes before or after them. So the first one I would like to start with is the very iconic Daleks. For those who haven't seen the show, the Daleks are a cybernetic life form who throughout the show look very robotic, but in fact they are cyborgs. They are a little alien being encased in a robotic shell, which is what they use to travel around in. The Daleks did used to be humanoids, meaning they used to look like humans, have a human-like body, but they have lost that. The Daleks' main weapon is a gun stick, which is a device that can fire a beam that can basically disintegrate people. And the Daleks' main form of defense is the fact that they are encapsulated in this metal shell, which is very hard to destroy. The Daleks are also capable of transmitting information using a sort of artificial telepathic network known as the Pathweb, which is described as the biggest database that the Doctor is aware of. What I like about the Daleks throughout the show is that they are a familiar enemy. You know what to expect from Daleks when they come. They are always dangerous. There's a lot of them, they're going to shoot some lasers, going to kill some people, and yet they're always used in a new way throughout the show, which makes them interesting. It can be something such as making the Doctor's current companion into a Dalek through some sort of means, which I'm not going to get into. It can be by having the Doctor talk to a sort of leadership throughout the Daleks, which we didn't know existed at that time. And there's always something new to discover about them, and they're always used in a new way. And yet you know what to expect from them. They are also used in their familiar capacity as a disruptible enemy, an enemy you don't want to face. And of course, what is also interesting about them is that the Daleks have something iconic. Their iconic extermination, which they scream, which I can't replicate. But when you hear that, you always know it's the Daleks who are coming, and you know it's a dangerous situation. What I also like about them is that the Dalek has a design that is very simple and very easy to recognize, and yet it can be changed to make specific Daleks stand out, while still being Dalek. You can still see them in any sort of picture and be like, that's a Dalek. But they can also stand out if they have to be different from one another, if they have to have a particular look. So if it's a specific Dalek, you will still be able to see it. My next enemy on this list is the Weeping Angels, which are described as an extremely powerful species of quantum-locked humanoids. What this means in normal terms, as far as I can explain it, is that the Weeping Angels are unable to move as long as you look at them, meaning as long as you look at them, they appear as a normal statue. This gives them their Weeping Angel look because they usually look like angels, and they cover their own eyes because if a Weeping Angel looks at another Weeping Angel, they're just going to be forced to stand still forever. What makes the Weeping Angels very dangerous is the fact that when you don't look at them, they move, meaning you have to look at them in order to defeat them. And as every human knows, you have to blink at some point, and when you blink, they'll move. The Reaper Angels are known for being kind, murderous psychopaths, and this is because, depending on how you look at it, they actually kill their victims in a very merciful way. Merciful being with quotation marks here, because what they do is that they drop their enemies into the past and let them live out their lives just in a different time period. This allows them to sort of feed off the remaining time energy of this victim's life. However, if that enemy is in the way of a greater power source, then the Reaper Angels are known to kill by other means, such as simply snapping their victims' necks. Now, what I like about them is, as I described before, their uniqueness, their very scary way of killing people. The fact that you have to look at them, and when you do, they're sort of not a threat and you can't really do anything about them. And therefore they can be only stopped one at a time. You can only look in one direction. So if they attack you from multiple directions, you have to continuously change the direction you're looking in. And while you're looking the other way, they're getting closer and closer. And as I also stated, you have to blink at some point. So even if there's only one of them, and you can just stare at that one, you are going to blink, and they're going to slowly creep up on you, which makes them a very terrifying foe when they show up. And now, before the last enemy on this list, I would like to come with an honorable mention, and that mention is the Ood. The Ood are a humanoid species with tentacles used for feeding purposes, located on the lower portion of their face. The Ood have no way of communicating besides telepathy, and they have a very long lifespan. The Ood have two brains, one in their head and a secondary brain that they usually hold in their hands, because it's connected by an umbilical cord-like connection to their face. And this second brain is the one that usually do a lot of the thinking and stores their telepathic abilities. This brain is also the one that processes memories and can be leading to mental instabilities if it's removed. Under normal circumstances, the Ood are a very gentle and harmless creature because of the way they are made biologically, with them having their brain in their literal hands. They can't really afford to antagonize anyone. However, due to their brain structure, they are also very susceptible to corruption from evil entities, and this is very problematic, and this is where the Ood sort of becomes an enemy, and that's why I put them on as an honorable mention. I really like the Ood, and I really think they were scary in the instances where they were an enemy to the Doctor, but they aren't enemies per se all the time. Sometimes they are just, corrupted. They're usually friends and allies to the Doctor. Now for the last enemy on this list, and that enemy is the Silent. If you don't remember them, if you've seen Doctor Who and simply don't remember who these people are, great, that's the entire point of these people. But I'm going to explain that for those of you who don't know who they are and are really confused. The Silent were originally members of the Church of the Silence, and they are a genetically engineered people who were created by this church to allow people to confess their sins without remembering doing so. This is accomplished by making them into what's known as memory proof, which basically means that anyone who looks at them will forget them the moment they look away. Even if it is a photograph of a Silent, the moment you don't look at them anymore, you can't remember them. Now, what makes them enemies of the Doctor is that a renegade sect of these priests became obsessed with preventing what is known as the Siege of Twinsalor, which I'm not going to get into. And they achieved it by traveling back in time, influencing human history over a long period of time. And this Siege of Twinsalor involves the Doctor, so because of that, they are enemies of the Doctor. So to give you a better understanding of the Silent, I'm just going to describe their powers in a little more detail. What their powers does, other than people not being able to remember them, is that people who see them will instantly remember the last time they saw them. So if you have a previous interaction with a Silent, you will remember that interaction the moment you see a Silent again. But the moment you look away, you will forget it. It also takes a little bit of time because people are able to sort of remember fearing them. So if you are in a situation where you're afraid and then look away, you aren't just going to stop being afraid and be like, what the hell is happening? You're still going to run away in fear, but after a few moments, you're going to forget why you were running away in fear, but you're still going to do it. The Silent are also capable of issuing commands to people who are looking at them, and these orders will then be stored in the person's mind, sort of like hypnosis. So when you look away from them, you will forget they told you to do it, but you are going to do it anyway, because your mind is sort of like subconsciously going to remember this order or this command, and you won't even remember doing it. Now, what I think makes these one particularly interesting, and why I remember them so well, is like the Weeping Angels. They have a very unique way of attacking their enemies, and I really liked the episodes they were in, because I think they are a very interesting enemy. Because how do you defeat something you don't remember? I like the things they had to do throughout the episode to overcome this enemy. For instance, making markers on yourself every time you see a Silent. This means that when they look at the markers, they aren't going to remember what they saw, but they're going to remember that they saw something scary. And eventually the Doctor put two and two together and like, okay, we keep making these markers on ourselves, but we don't remember why. So we must be facing an enemy we can't remember. I also like the way the Doctor ultimately end up defeating them, and I'm going to spoil this particular thing because I find it very interesting. So Doctor ends up by, through a lot of means I'm not going to explain, putting a clip of a Silent telling people to kill Silents as soon as they see them in the moon landing photos. Which means that every single time people look at the moon landing, which people are going to do for many years, and Doctor knows this, then they're going to get this subconscious message to kill Silent, and then they're just going to keep killing them, and no one's going to remember it, of course, but that's the way he defeats them, by making them kill one subconsciously, using their own powers against them. As always, this has been my opinion archive. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that if you don't know Doctor Who, you will find some of these enemies interesting, and maybe look into it. If you do like Doctor Who, please tell me other enemies you think I should have included in this list. Before anyone says it, I know someone is going to say it. Yes, I do like the Cybermen. They are also an iconic enemy. But I did think these other ones were more interesting, and I didn't want this list to get too long. So please let me know if there are any enemies you really like and why.